Welcome back. In this video, we'll explore 6 strategies to help you improve your semantic memory and enhance your learning. Keep in mind, these tips are specifically designed for boosting semantic memory only. If trauma is impacting your semantic memory or other types of memory, please consult a doctor or therapist. Let's start with the first strategy. The first strategy is using acronyms. Memory aids like acronyms can be, for example, RICE for first aid, rest, ice, compression, elevation, or sentences like, please, excuse my dear Aunt Sally, to remember the order of arithmetic operations. Now, let's explore the second memory aid. This method enhances your semantic memory and learning experience through storytelling. This mnemonic is called the story method, or also chain method. It involves creating a vivid and often bizarre story that links together the pieces of information you need to remember. By embedding the information in a coherent story, it's easier to recall the details later. Next, let's look at using associations in learning. By connecting new information with what you already know, you can link ideas, concepts, or facts together. This helps you understand, organize, and remember information better. You can form associations through mental images, analogies, comparisons, or relating information to your own experiences. Another memory aid to talk about is the method of Loki, also known as the Mind Palace technique, or memory journey. This method involves visualizing a familiar place, such as your home or school. Within this environment, you associate the words and information you're trying to remember with different spots in that place. A more complex and time-consuming strategy is to use many of your information processing channels during the learning process. Implementing the visual channel in learning means creating visual representations such as diagrams, charts, or flashcards to illustrate key concepts and relationships. Incorporating the vocal auditory channel into your learning routine means listening to lectures, podcasts, or audio recordings related to the material to reinforce learning through auditory input. The vocal auditory channel also includes explaining concepts out loud or discussing them with others. Finally, hands-on activities or interactive experiences that involve physically manipulating objects or practicing skills related to the material are important. Examples of these activities are writing summaries, using manipulatives like blocks, models, or puzzles, or engaging in simulations that require physical movement. Last but not least comes the spaced repetition method. If you want to remember something, it helps to repeat it, but not all at once. It's better to spread out your practice. Rather than going over things many times in a short period of time, review the important aspects after longer breaks. First, after an hour, then every few hours, then every day, and so on. This is particularly useful when learning a new language as an adult, but other complex information can also be learned effectively using the spaced repetition method. You can find useful applications based on this method in Unit 3. This video has introduced you to 6 different strategies to help you remember information better. Please continue below to deepen and review your knowledge.